it's Brooke. We're back for part 3 of our beautiful altered composition book slash junk journal slash creative daily journal, whatever you want to make it into. In the first 2 parts, we made the cover, which is here. It's just beautiful. We made this soft spine a la Carol Laws. And then last time we made this fun ephemera holder and we bound it right in. Full disclosure, I had said it went a little crooked and I could live with it. Turns out I really couldn't live with it. I snipped out the stitches and restitched it because it was too crooked for me. So we've got this fun little folder to hold all sorts of goodies for your journal. And we've got 2 more signatures to bind in on this. The playlist will be linked down below when we made the rest of this. I have, let's see, what do I have? I have the original pages from the composition books. I have kit pages. This kit is called Spring Has Sprung. It's a freebie in my Facebook group. I will link the group up there. Come on over, get yours. Lots of fun stuff over there. And so I've got some of the pages of that printed out on 8.5 by 11 paper and then just folded in half. And then just a couple sheets of dyed paper. I do like to have a lot of composition book paper in my creative daily journal. You can change out the quantities of these. You know, it could be all dyed papers, it could be all kit papers, all composition book pages. You could use other book pages. Whatever you like to put in your journal will work. But that is what I'm going to do. Plus I have 2 of the envelopes that come with the kit, and I'm going to bind these into the center of the signatures. Okay, we're going to start with a real basic lesson about book guts, because I've had a lot of questions. We have a lot of new friends here, and I think some of the jargon might be confusing when you're first starting. As experienced junk journal makers, we're used to all the stuff, all the words, but I think some new folks might get a little confused. So we're going to go over that real quick. I also have all my binding stuff here, so I'll set that aside as well. Okay, so I pulled out my Edith Holden book, my much-loved Edith Holden book, as a little example. Now you can see I've pulled stuff out of here, so it's a little raggedy at the top. When you're looking at a book, whether it's a book that you've made or a book that you've purchased, this part of the book, all the pages together as a set, is called the book block. Okay? If you look real closely, hopefully you can see this. Can you see there are different groups of pages? I think you can see it right there. Different groups of pages that are sewn in. Those groups are called signatures. So if you have, let's see, I think this is one piece of paper folded in half is called a folio. You fold that in half, you stack up some other ones with it, inside of it, and that is a signature. So that is the difference between a folio and a signature. Hopefully that helped, because as I said, I've had lots of questions. And BTW, if you're new, if you ever come across one of these, grab it. They're beautiful. Okay, so show and tell is over. Now I did, once again, thread my needle so you didn't have to watch. So I've got my waxed linen on there. Oh, did I get a knot in there already? Not cool. Okay, I've got my waxed linen that I cut at 3 times the height of our cover. So 1, 2, and 3, plus a little bit to grow on. I do like to have a little extra rather than run out. Yesterday when we were binding in that folder, I had way too much, so I scaled it back a little bit, but roughly 3 times the height of your book will be enough to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. Okay, then the next thing is, these are the composition notebook pages that we took right out of that cover. I took, let's see, we need 4 for each signature. Okay, so what I did was I took each folio and glued 2 of them together. So when you pull the composition book apart, the stitches are right down the center. These pages lift out just like this. So I took this folio and the one behind it, and I glued them together. That is to give some strength to the pages in your composition book. Do you have to? Absolutely not. I like to, and then I go through and washi the edges of all of them for some durability, but also because it looks really pretty. I do find sometimes when I'm working on my pages, the edges will come apart a little bit like that. I just slip in a little art glitter glue or glue stick and squish it back together and it's fine. So I want 4 of these pages for each signature. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Each signature is going to have 8 pages total, and that gives you 8, 16, 32 surfaces front and back to write on. So if you're doing a monthly journal and you only use one side for a day, it's plenty to do a whole month. If you prefer to do a double page spread where you do, here we go, like this would all be the first, and then you turn the page, and this would all be the second, then this journal will have enough pages to do a month's worth between the 2 signatures. So that is my plan. I do 1 page per spread per day. So that is what I'm gearing this towards. 1, 2. I did go ahead and glue these pages together because, you know, that's boring. Let's get to the good stuff. Okay, so that's 4. Put that aside. And now we're going to have 1 envelope in each signature. And I just cut these out. I have not glued them because we're going to stitch into the envelope and then close it like we did with the folder. And then I've got, let's see, so that's 4, that's 5, there's 6, and let's see, 7. Oh, I've got more than I need. Let's see, which one shall I pick? Oh, I love this. This is like one of my favorite ones, so I think I'll use that one. And I love this one that says spring. So that should be 8 for each signature. Let me get this stuff out of the way. All right, and now we just go about our business, stacking these together the way we want. Move this so I can pull this in where you can see it. So this will be our first signature, and I want the one that says spring to be on the front page. So I'll do that, and then I'll do composition book. I try to kind of alternate between the decorative paper and the plain paper. So some days I have all this room to do all kinds of arting on it, and then some days I can just slap a picture or a piece of ephemera or just do a little writing, and it's pretty much done. It's nice to be able to switch off like that, I think. I think I will do another one of the pages. So we'll put that in there. And another composition. And then we'll do another dyed paper. These beautiful papers are from Amy at Hag's Hollow, Darkwood Sanctuary. I'm not sure if she sells paper anymore, but I will list her down below. She did beautiful work. Okay, now we have an extra composition page, so we'll have to do, I guess we'll do 2 in a row here. That will be fine, because I want our envelope in the middle. Yeah, while you're doing this, I try to stagger the pages. These pages are a little bit smaller than the composition notebook, so I try to stagger where they are, like some down a little bit lower, some up a little higher, and we'll check on that after we get our envelope in place. This one I think I want right in the middle like that, and then we'll go back to the center, which is, where is it? Right here. Okay, so now let's see, we want it to be, this is where we want to bind it in, because that's the fold that will make it work out right. Does that make sense? So then when it's bound in, it'll be like that, and it'll be like that. So this guy is going to go right here, and I'm going to take just a little bit of washi tape. I forgot to get that out, sorry. And I will take this and actually put it on my sleeve just to untack it a little bit more. Make sure it's tucked down in that crease. And tape it right there. And then we'll tape the other side down, and that hopefully will hold it in place while we're trying to sew. Okay, so we got that there. And if we're lucky, it won't rip our paper. So now let's go ahead and get these tapped together. We said we wanted this one in the middle. And then I think this one I want to have up a little higher. And those I want even. And I guess we'll go back to the middle for this guy. It doesn't really matter. It's purely a matter of taste. It might help reduce the bulk a little bit in the binding, but I don't think tremendously. Okay, so that's exactly what we want. Now I will take a ruler, and holding this, as Elizabeth says, like a taco, I'm going to press my ruler down into those folds to get them good and snug. Okay, and then I'll take some of my clips, and I'm going to put one here and one on the back. Try to hold those guys in place. Okay, so we have one clip on the back, one clip on the front, holding our pages in place. And still holding it like a taco. Get out our template, which is the one we've been using, and find the T at the top. Remember, we marked that, and you're just going to, in theory, oh, that didn't catch that. Whoops, make sure your pages are caught, otherwise you'll be sad. We're going to let that fall open a little bit, and then put our template in there, lining up the top and the bottom, making sure that the T is at the top of our signature, so everything's right side up. Get that pressed down in there good and tight. The envelope is fighting with me a little bit, so hopefully you can see that. There we go. Now I've got my pokey tool, and I'm just going to go through our holes, just like we've been doing. Press it down in there good and snug. Make sure you're getting all the way through. And put in your 5 holes. Okay, so that looks like we're going to have 2 holes, or 2 threads holding onto our envelope, and that should be sufficient. Make sure I can see those. This one looks a little sketchy. Trying to go straight through. And then we have this one that looks like it did not go straight through. So we'll just go back through there a little bit, and then you've got all your holes right along your spine. So that's great. And now what we're going to do is take our cover and our waxed linen cord that we've threaded onto a needle. This is a binding needle. It is fairly blunt at the tip, so you're not as inclined to make extra air holes. And it's got a big enough eye for the waxed linen cord, but not such a big eye that it makes giant holes in your paper. And what I want to do is start on the inside, because I want my knot on the inside. And normally what I would do is bind, you know what, actually I'm going to do that. Let's go ahead and real quick make the middle signature, because I generally start with the back signature, then sew in the middle signature, and then sew in the front signature. It just seems to make it easier to do. So let's grab this guy and just get him punched real quick. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Put a kit page on the front. And then we'll have 2 composition pages. And then we'll have one of these beautiful dyed papers. These were dyed with Ritz dye, and the color is very vibrant. It's beautiful. And then put that one, whoops. And then we'll put this kit page. And as I said, you can use any combination of pages you would like. If you don't like the composition notebook pages, use all digital. If you don't like digitals, use book pages or magazine pages or whatever you like. Okay, now we've got this one. Make sure our envelope is right side up. And yep, if we bind it right there, it will be the right direction. Maybe I can grab this one with the clips. Here's hoping. You know what I think I'll try? I've got giant paper clips. Let's see if those will work better because the kit pages are small enough. I'm having a hard time grabbing those too. So here's a ginormous paper clip. And look at that. Press those all down, make sure we've got them sunk into the center. Catch the other side of that envelope if we're lucky. I know you guys can't peek in there. See what I'm holding it separate, and I'm just going to slide this paper clip on there. And no, it's not going to grab our... Okay, if we do it on this side, it will grab the other side of our envelope, and then we can use the clips on the other side. Some people don't clip. They just go ahead and poke the holes, and more power to them. I like to clip. I like things to be held where they're supposed to be. Okay, so we'll put those two clips on there. Perfect. Grab our template. Put our T at the top. Snuggle that right down into the center. Make sure it's pressed in real good. And go straight down with your awl, or your pokey tool. And I'm just kind of lifting it up to make sure I can see it coming through. I do. Perfect. And there's that one. And there's that one. Great. Now I can do it in the right order. That'll make me happy. I'm a creature of habit. Okay. So let's make sure we got the right side here. Yep, we do. So now we can go ahead and what do I do with my needle and my thread? Oh, I just put it right here. Okay, so as I said, I want to start on the inside because I'm in the center hole, but also the inside of the signature because I want my knot on the inside. And then I'm going to go to that next line of holes in our spine, go right through our signature and the cover. At this point, you can tape this down or you can put a clip on it, whatever you wanted to do to make sure that it doesn't pull all the way through. I'm just going to will it to not pull through. Does not sound like a great plan. Never fails. Okay, so I've gone through the cover. And I'm just looking for that hole in the signature. There it is. Like this. Pull it snug, not so tight that you tear the paper, but make sure it's snug. You don't want your book wobbling around. Then we'll go up to that top hole and go through the signature and back into our cover. You can see the holes that we made in the spine, so that's very helpful. Pull it through. And once again, pull that snug. And then we're going to go back down to that last hole that we just were in. And we want to go through there and go up in the same hole, but don't split the thread that's already there. It's not the end of the world if you do. It just makes it harder to tighten up your signatures. And it's not that hard to avoid, so it's nothing to panic over. Then I'm going to take my needle and go all the way down. I'm skipping the center hole, and I'm going to go down to the next hole. And we'll go in through the spine. And then we'll flip it over and go down into that bottom hole. And I'm just looking for the hole. There it is. Looking for the hole in the signature. Did we get it? We did not get it. Okay. Flipping around. I am the biggest flipper arounder in the world when I'm binding. I don't know why. It's kind of silly. Let's get that pulled snug. Go back through that hole. And I'm kind of lifting up the edge and peeking through to see our hole. There we go. Now I'm going to take the needle and go back through that last hole. Again, avoiding the splitting the thread. Right up through there. And then this time we're going to go down through that center hole again. Once again, avoiding the thread that's already there. This is the part where I start flipping it around like crazy. Okay, there we go. Now what I want to do is take the clips off because they tend to weigh the paper down and it may prevent you from getting it snug enough. So we'll take the clips off, set them aside for our next signature. And then you want to have one tail on either side of this long stitch. So, oh, is my camera freaking out again? I'm going to have to start working with like brown paper. Brown only. Because my camera doesn't like the white so much. Okay, so then I've got one of those tails on either side of that long thread. Got a piece of masking tape that's sticking to everything. We'll check it on the outside. Yep, that feels nice and snug. The signatures will have a little bit of wiggle only because you've got that soft spine in there, and that's just fine. It's got a little give, which is nice. Okay, so we'll tie that. And we'll go ahead and make a double knot. Because I'm using waxed linen cord, it has kind of a grab to it. So when you tie it in a knot, it shouldn't have any problems with coming untied. Okay, and then cut that. And fold our envelope. And I think I want, what do I want? I want it overlapped like that. So I will grab the art glitter glue, see if it's acting right today. It comes and goes. And there are cards included in the kit that fit in these envelopes. You can use those or make your own or whatever makes you happy. And then, okay, we'll glue this closed. And then there's this fun little pocket right in the middle. You never know when you need an extra pocket. Give that a second to grab and put our glue pin back in. All right, let's go take a look. This will be our second signature. Oh, look at that paper with the fabric and everything. Oh, I love it. And I do like to go through and just give it a little burnish, help it start learning to lay flat. It's looking good. And I will bind in the other signature exactly the same way. And then before we get back together again, I will washi tape all the edges because, well, that wouldn't make for very exciting viewing, now would it? I will grab a washi tape here real quick and show you how I do it. It's nothing very scientific. And I do just like to go through, make sure everything's where I want it, and mash it down a little bit. There's our beautiful envelope. Now the pages of the composition book will get a little wrinkled. They'll get even more wrinkled when you're putting all different kinds of media on them. So if that wrinkle thing bothers you, composition notebook paper may not be the way to go. I love it. I love the texture. I love painting on it. I love drawing on it. It makes me happy. Okay, so now we have 32 sides, front and back, for this particular month's journaling. Look at that. Isn't it awesome? Here's our last page. And it looks so pretty with our ephemera folder. We've got lots of space in between for it to grow. And it's tucked very nicely into the inside of that cover. And we still have our little closure. Okay, so hold on for a second and I'll grab some washi tape. Picked out one of my favorites. I think this was a Hobby Lobby one years and years ago, but isn't it pretty? All kinds of crazy colors. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll open this up. And what I was saying when we first started about the composition journal is you can open it like this. So as it's getting fatter, you can make it lay flat because you can put the spine wherever you want it. So you can do that while you're putting on your washi tape as well. So there's that first page that we want to washi. Probably be good if I put a magazine under there, huh? Probably so. Okay. And I'll pull out the length of washi that I like, which is pretty much top to bottom, maybe not exactly. I don't lose sleep over it. Where's my glue stick? I do like to put some glue stick on it because washi is not meant to be permanent tape at all. So it may not hurt to put, excuse me, to put a little extra glue on there just to help it. I also find sometimes if I forget to do that, just during the month when I'm using the journal, I need to go in and stick a little glue under a piece of washi somewhere. It's not the end of the world. I don't know where my big glue stick is. Falling apart over here. Okay. So just getting the washi good and sticky, and I'm going to guesstimate the halfway mark. So I have half on this side. Take my bone folder. Fold it over and just give it a press. There you go. Very easy. A little time consuming, but I think it's worth the result. I think it looks really pretty. And then snip off this excess. And most times I go through, and it's a great TV watching project, but I'll go through with my corner punch and round these corners. Totally up to you again. But I think that that looks so pretty. And then when you get through, all the pages have different washi tape on them, and it is just another layer of crazy color. So there you go, guys. All I have to do is bind in the other signature exactly the same way and washi the edges, and we'll come back and perhaps do a little decorating in our journal. So please come back to see what comes next. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I will get back to you as soon as I can, which reminds me to say, if you've left me a comment in the last 3 months or something and I haven't gotten back to you, I apologize. There's something going on with how the comments come through on YouTube, and I've had some pop up this week that were from 2 months ago and I never saw them. So I apologize for that. I do try to answer all my comments. So if you have a question, leave it down there, and I'll thank you for coming and hanging out with me. I hope you're trying to make one of these beautiful guys yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.